So we know the correlation between eating healthy and living healthy, yet my next guest says many women are missing out on one of the biggest keys to a strong immune system. Tanna Fox is a certified nutritionist and the founder of Live Right Nutrition, who understands the power of food. She is here to fill us in on the secret to good health, which you say is all in the gut. It's so great to see you.
You too. Thanks for having me.
So we hear about gut health, Tanna. How do you define that? What is a healthy gut?
And that word in itself is just so, it just seems scary. But gut health is actually just making sure you have a good balance, right, of the foods you eat so that your body can actually do all the metabolic functions without any uncomfortable, like without any, energy loss.
If my gut is unhealthy, if my gut is in poor health, what are the side effects? What might I experience?
Such a good question. Okay, so it's actually more common than we think. Most often women have and men too, have the bloating, kind of that gassy belly area. But the number one way you can determine if your gut health needs a little bit more focus is how bad your sugar cravings are. Like the kind that you have just insatiable, right? Insatiable. You eat, right? But you just want more chocolate. You want more bread, that carb, just kind of the unsatisfying need to just eat.
I've never heard that. So what's the connection then? Why do I crave sugar if my gut's in poor health?
Well, this is so fascinating. Bad bacteria in your gut actually craves and feeds off of sugar and carbohydrates. Good bacteria in your gut feeds off of fruits, vegetables, and fiber, or prebiotics is another way to call it.
Isn't the body amazing?
It's fascinating. And it's just a couple little things that you can add or kind of try to tweak so you can get more balance. So you don't feel an energy slump, so you don't feel always bloating, or you don't crave. Like, every woman loves chocolate, and that's great, and that's a perfect way to live. But when it just becomes insatiable, you can't stop, it gets frustrating.
Well, when it's a need and not a want,
exactly.
is what I hear you say. You've got some great suggestions for us on how we might improve our gut health if we take some of these tasks to heart. How long before we see results?
Good question also. It's not going to be overnight, but you can actually shift your entire gut microbiome in as little as 5 to 6 months. But that seems discouraging. But even just one day of adding something simple, and it's a little bit, it's not a lot, sometimes 2 tablespoons of a vegetable, a 1/4 cup of a kombucha, a 1/2 cup of kefir. Little by little, you can add those into your diet, and next thing you know, your entire gut microbiome is shifting.
Okay, go shopping. Go grocery shopping with us.
So we're at the grocery store. These are kind of the first entry-level way. If you haven't ever had probiotics before, sometimes you might experience an increase of a little bit of a bellyache or a headache. Your body's detoxing a little bit. So if you want to start slow, these are great options. Kids love them too. These maybe contain 1 or 2 different strains of bacteria. Okay. You see on a probiotic supplement CFUs, billions and billions and billions, and people tend to grab the one with the most. You actually want to go with the most variety of different strains of bacteria. But the labels will kind of, show you, and I'll walk you through some of those.
And CFU is a healthy bacteria?
Yes, it's the unit of bacteria. Okay. So this is kind of good entry level, but there's actually 3 types of probiotic foods that you want to search for.
Tell us.
So the first one is going to be a cultured vegetable, right? This is the best of the best.
You're pushing me.
You like dill pickles?
Okay. I don't, but I would for you.
If anyone likes a dill pickle, this is the best option. And these are kind of different. They're fermented like kimchi, sauerkraut. Yeah. That's what a cultured vegetable is. Okay. And they use cabbage because they have the perfect pH level that draws in all of the good polyphenols for your gut.
So give it a try.
Yes, give it a try.
Challenge
the next
accepted.
one is going to be a kombucha. And kombucha is like a fermented tea.
Now, I've heard of this. I've never tried this.
And it is also a little bit interesting. It's a fermented tea, so and it's usually flavored, so it has a little bit of a carbonated feel. It kind of tastes a tiny bit like a hint of vinegar, but you're like, why is this actually addicting and really quite good? But a lot of the times people drink the whole bottle. You only need about a 1/4 cup. Okay. So again, you don't need to overdo it on these probiotics. Just a little bit makes a big difference.
A 1/4 cup a day? Okay.
I mean, or even a couple times a week will start to make a difference. Yes,
exactly. You can tell I'm internalizing this. I want to be you.
And little by little, it will come.
All right.
So that's the first 2, right? And then the next one is kefir. And this is what I love to make, and this is what I make at home, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But these are all available at the store. When I started my probiotic journey, probably 8 years ago, fermented milk was like, what? You leave the milk on the counter? What are you thinking? Are you going to get sick? I mean, no one leaves dairy out overnight. But now they've come to show that people really are seeing big benefits from it. Okay. So lots of companies are making their own kefir.
And you make your own?
Yes, and it's so easy and it's so much more cost effective. Okay. But to start out, to introduce it, these are all great options. I got all of these at Sprouts, but Whole Foods has them, Earth's Best have them, so you can find them in a lot of different places. Okay. But kefir is another one that also has another huge amount of different strains of bacteria. Again, diversity is kind of what creates a better gut microbiome, so aim for different options of these probiotic foods.
Okay, and if I were to look at a label, give me the quick one too on what I would be looking for.
Yes, because there's so many now that are popping on the market, you always need to make sure that your labels say active or live or raw cultured food, because sometimes they'll put the probiotics in the food, but then they'll go to preserve it and put it on the shelf and they kill all the probiotics. So make sure you read your labels when you buy probiotic foods, and that way you'll know you're getting a really good rich source.
And if I go to try to culture vegetables at home or take the homemade route, is there a good way to do it, a bad way to do it?
You know what? It looks scary. This looks like it takes a million years.
Science experiment.
I know, right?
Yeah.
This took me probably 3 minutes yesterday. It's just shoving in the shredded cabbage, adding a little bit of this culture whey, this cultured, it's what actually ferments the food.
Okay.
And then you leave it on your counter for like 5 days. These lemons I made in maybe 2 minutes. And you just leave it out, then you put it in your fridge and you just slowly add it little by little to things you already eat. So salads, right? Sandwiches. Anything you already are used to eating, you don't need to change your entire diet. Just throw in a little bit of this, a little
here
bit,
and there.
Add a little bit of this to your kid's grape juice, right? Add a little bit of this to your smoothie, and next thing you know, your gut will start to change, and it really improves your immune system and your cravings so much.
I am inspired. We adore you, and I appreciate how you inspire women as you've done today to take those small, doable steps toward overall better health. Where can we get more advice from you?
You know, I have an Instagram account. It's live.right.nutrition.
Live Right Nutrition. We'll link you over from our website. Thank you. This was eye-opening in a lot of capacities, so we appreciate it.